Yesterday, President Biden announced a plan to wipe out up to $20,000 in student loan debt for millions of borrowers across the country, and also to extend the pause on student loan payments until December 31st. Economists, though, criticizing the president's plan and warning that it will not help economic growth. Well, it's not really designed to help economic growth, isn't it? But anyway, that's where we find Sozzi's take. Is that what it's for? Well, obviously, I thought it's to help individual people.
I would say we're in the early stages of getting Wall Street's take and the take from many economists on this. But the first one I did come across my email box this morning is from Goldman Sachs chief economist Jan Hatzius, calling for, he only expects a 0.1% boost to GDP next year because of this debt relief. Now, there I am on the side of the chart, and you can see a lessening impact from loan forgiveness as the years go along. Of course, this chart is from Hatzius over Goldman Sachs, but we also got that similar vibe by the team at Evercore ISI, which crunched some numbers, also not seeing a big impact. Now, well, I'll show my take in a second, but I just don't agree with this, because if you're forgiving this amount of debt, I mean, that's payments off your plate every single month. That's money you could spend elsewhere. Maybe buy some of this clearance inventory at retail. Whatever you might buy, you suddenly have a lot of money freed up to live your life differently. And I do think there's going to be a larger impact than the street is starting to estimate here.
It allows people to do life planning earlier on. It allows you to think about family formation. It allows you to think about owning real estate or property for yourselves. And this has been a major overhang for so many students who were carrying this debt, and they were paying it off so much longer than their parents or their parents' parents. And that's a true economic impact as well.
But for me, talking about it in these terms sort of misses the point, right? Okay. In the terms that the Goldman economists would think about. They're thinking macro, right? They're thinking about the biggest picture, the biggest aperture possible, where really this is designed to help individuals. So in an individual's economic situation, it can make a very large difference. Perhaps collectively, especially because you're talking about earners on the mid to lower end of the spectrum, that it's not going to have as big an impact on the overall economy.
And here's my take. Maybe not, so surprising, just given my vibe on this. Bring on the relief, and there I am, wearing my graduate hat right there, and the money. To your guy's point, I mean, this frees up a lot of money, folks, to change their life and do things differently than they have been over the past few years because they've been crippled by this amount of debt. Now, the next series of notes I expect coming from the street is there an inflationary impact from this? Because now if you have all that money freed up each month and you're out there spending, whether it is going out to dinner or buying that house, maybe putting money down for a car, what does that do to inflation?
Well, but before, were you putting all kinds of things on credit cards, for example? You were still spending, maybe. You were just not doing it in as healthy a way.
And it also helps because of who this is targeting as well. It also helps on the personal inflation rate side that we were talking about, perhaps drive that down for people who were already experiencing the hardest kind of onset of the inflation being higher, or year over year being higher, and then continuing to be high for necessities and what they're paying right now.
And I do wonder, lastly, what impact to the markets will be. Do folks take some of these savings, some of this money, and try to really change their financial futures by putting money to work in the markets? Doesn't have to be meme stocks, but still, do they go look for dividend pairs, you name it?
All right, just not Peloton.